I don't want to see you anymore. I want you to go away. Understand?
Close your mind. You pull the trigger. It's okay.
As Duncan Vizla approaches his 50th birthday, he visits his doctor for a routine health examination. Physically, he is in peak condition, but the scars etched into his skin and the metal fragments embedded in his body serve as a reminder of a violent past. After a discreet and thorough checkup, the doctor finds nothing alarming aside from Duncan's smoking habit. Duncan is not just any man, he is a legendary assassin known in the underworld as the Black Kaiser. He works for an organization called DEADLIEST, which has a strict rule: every assassin must retire at the age of 50. While making a $200,000 donation to an anonymous recipient, Duncan is informed by his personal accountant that in exactly 2 weeks, on his milestone birthday, he will receive his $8 million pension from DEADLIEST. Meanwhile, halfway across the world in Chile, another assassin, Michael Green, is preparing to retire. Unlike Duncan's quiet approach, Michael is celebrating in style. He's indulging in a raucous farewell with a woman named Cindy, experimenting with an array of substances that would overwhelm any chemist. But the fun abruptly ends when Michael is suddenly shot by a sniper. A team of elite assassins, Facundo, Hilda, Carl, Alexei, and Cindy herself, has been sent to eliminate him. The reasoning? Michael had grown too old for Damocles' liking. Within moments, the team completes their mission, leaving behind the lifeless body of Michael Green. Following Michael's funeral, Duncan meets with Vivian, a former field assassin who has since transitioned into a managerial role, coordinating assignments for the killers working under Damocles. Vivian informs Duncan that their superior has assigned him one final mission before he officially retires, a job meant to avenge Michael by targeting those responsible for his death. Interestingly, she points to a lone Mexican assassin residing in Beirut as the culprit, rather than revealing the entire team of killers involved. To incentivize Duncan, Vivian offers him a payment of $1 million for completing this mission. Duncan, however, does not respond verbally. He simply accepts the documents and leaves the restaurant. Back at his home in Triple Oak, Montana, Duncan begins receiving multiple messages on the private Damocles network. Carefully, he destroys SIM card after SIM card to prevent being traced before contacting Vivian. Sensing his hesitation, Vivian raises the stakes, offering $2 million for the job, half to be paid up front and the remainder after completion. While still uncertain about accepting, Duncan instructs her to upload all necessary mission details to the Damocles server, preparing himself to investigate the assignment on his own terms. Vivian then approaches their boss, Mr. Blute, seeking authorization to release the mission payment. However, it becomes clear that Blute has his own hidden agenda. Planning to sell Damocles, he has been systematically eliminating retiring assassins to seize their pension funds using a loophole in their contracts. There is no intention of honoring these pensions. The assassins are to be disposed of as soon as they retire or when their contracts expire. Duncan, holding the largest pension of all, has been specifically targeted. Blute deliberately assigns him a final mission, setting the stage for a deadly trap. Vivian urges Blute to simply pay Duncan his pension and avoid any unnecessary complications, warning that the Black Kaiser is not a man to provoke. Despite her counsel, Blute stubbornly pushes forward with his lethal plan. Meanwhile, Duncan quietly begins investigating everything linked to his target. Gathering sufficient intelligence, he travels to Belarus, intent on completing the mission independently without alerting Vivian. Disguised as a maintenance worker, he enters his target's hotel under the pretense of repairing a door. Deliberately making noise to irritate the Mexican assassin, Duncan's plan succeeds, creating the perfect moment to strike. He incapacitates the target and dispatches several henchmen along the way. While searching, Duncan discovers a file containing personal details, quickly realizing that the mission itself was a setup designed to eliminate him. He grabs an electric drill to interrogate the Mexican assassin, though the man has no knowledge of the orchestrators behind the plot. After finishing his target, Duncan photographs the body as proof. He then contacts Vivian, declaring his willingness to take on the job. Upon receiving the $1 million up front, Duncan immediately sends Vivian the photo and demands the remaining payment within 24 hours, making it clear that someone had tried to manipulate him, and warning Vivian to stay out of it. Alarmed, Vivian rushes to confront Mr. Blute. She informs him that Duncan completed the mission flawlessly and is now demanding the remaining $1 million payment. Angered and anxious, Vivian insists that Blute pay Duncan the full amount along with his pension immediately, warning that the Black Kaiser is not one to ignore and could retaliate at any moment. Blute, concerned about potential backlash but unwilling to honor the pension, agrees to release the remaining $1 million while deliberately withholding Duncan's retirement fund. Instead, he orders his team of elite assassins to track down and eliminate Duncan. Meanwhile, Duncan returns home after his mission, still haunted by memories of a violent past. In the course of his daily routines, he notices a new neighbor, Camille, who has recently moved into the house next door. Over time, Duncan sees her repeatedly at local spots like the convenience store and nearby cafes. Camille seems withdrawn and startled by even minor sounds, clearly carrying emotional burdens from her past. As they gradually spend more time together, Duncan and Camille begin forming a quiet bond. During a conversation, she reveals her past occupation. She had worked in the funeral business. Wanting to help her in a practical way, Duncan buys her a firearm and attempts to teach her how to shoot. However, Camille is visibly distressed by the weapon and cannot bring herself to pull the trigger, likely due to previous trauma. Duncan reassures her, telling her it's okay and they will find another solution, noting that she still has the receipt for the gun. Meanwhile, Blute's specialist assassins continue their relentless search for Duncan. They first locate his personal accountant and apply intense pressure to extract Duncan's current whereabouts. The accountant provides a file listing 4 properties owned by Duncan, each located in a different state. Since he genuinely does not know Duncan's current residence, the assassins eliminate him immediately. The team then begins visiting each of Duncan's properties sequentially. Their first stop takes them to Florida, where Cindy, dressed flamboyantly as always, arrives on the scene. However, their plan quickly backfires when the apartment is already rented and the new occupant mistakes Cindy for a service worker he had contacted. Their mission fails again, forcing them to move on. After checking all 4 properties without locating Duncan, the assassins cruelly eliminate the tenants at each location to prevent interference or leaks. Digging deeper into Duncan's financial records, they discover that he has been making intermittent $200,000 transfers to an unknown recipient through a bank in Triple Oak, Montana, a hint at Duncan's hidden network and resources. Soon after, Hilda contacts her boyfriend, Mr. Blute, confidently assuring him that Duncan will be eliminated. The assassin team then arrives in Montana and tracks Duncan down while he is out purchasing another gift for Camille. On his return, Duncan encounters Cindy, the expert seductress. Pretending her car has broken down, she asks Duncan for assistance. With her phone conveniently dead, preventing her from calling for help, Cindy ends up being invited into Duncan's home under the guise of waiting for assistance scheduled for 10 a.m. the next day. Throughout the night, Cindy flirts and teases Duncan, commenting on his age. But the playful interaction conceals her true intentions. Meanwhile, Facundo and the rest of the assassin team covertly prepare to ambush Duncan. Cindy positions herself to facilitate Facundo's shot, but just as the sniper is about to fire, Duncan swiftly dodges, causing Cindy to take the bullet instead. She is seriously injured in the shoulder, and Duncan immediately dives for cover. As Facundo unleashes a barrage of bullets throughout the house, Duncan retaliates with a precise axe throw, killing the sniper. Moments later, Hilda and Carl burst into the residence searching for him, only to find the house empty. Duncan has already slipped away and is tracking Facundo's position. He swiftly eliminates the sniper, seizes the rifle, and using a thermoscope identifies Hilda by her body heat, taking her down with a single shot. During this, Carl surprises Duncan from behind, but Duncan narrowly survives the sudden attack. After the firefight, Duncan begins investigating who orchestrated the attack on him. While searching for leads, he discovers a key to a nearby inn. When he arrives, he finds Junkie Jane heavily drugged. Through her disoriented rambling, Duncan learns that Camille has been abducted by Alexei, who had discovered the connection between Duncan and Camille through their investigation. Realizing the urgency, Duncan rushes to Camille's home, only to find that she is missing. Meanwhile, at his sprawling mansion, Mr. Blute erupts in fury upon learning that Duncan has eliminated both his girlfriend and the assassin team he sent. Vivian, unbothered, smirks and reminds Blute that she had cautioned him against provoking Duncan. She teases him, suggesting he can find a new girlfriend thanks to his looks, and once again advises him to simply pay Duncan his pension to avoid further complications. Blute, however, remains stubborn and refuses to relent. Determined to gain an advantage, Duncan turns to his old friend Porter, a retired assassin he trusts, believing the man understands Mr. Blute's tactics. After Duncan briefs Porter on the situation, Porter confirms that Blute intends to eliminate him before retirement, and that Camille is likely being held in Blute's massive mansion. However, just as Duncan prepares to act on this information, Porter betrays him. He secretly collaborates with Blute and drugs Duncan, rendering him unconscious. Duncan awakens shortly after in an underground dungeon beneath Blute's mansion, bound in chains. Blute reveals that he plans to torture Duncan over the next 4 days, delaying the killing until Duncan's 50th birthday. During the torture, Blute attempts to break Duncan's spirit by showing him photos of Camille, who has been kept disoriented and heavily drugged by Junkie Jane. On the 3rd day of his captivity, Blute attacks Duncan with his thin signature knife. The blade strikes a metal implant in Duncan's body and breaks. Enraged, Blute slashes Duncan's face and drives the knife into his left eye. That night, drenched in his own blood, Duncan uses the broken knife fragment to free himself from the chains. The following morning, as the guards enter, Duncan ambushes them, eliminating all of them efficiently. When Blute himself arrives, Duncan cuts the power to the dungeon and takes advantage of the darkness to take out even more guards. Though wounded and weakened, Duncan makes his way to his trusted friend, Jasmine, a skilled gun dealer who assists him in recovering and equips him with advanced weaponry for the battles ahead. Once recovered, Duncan contacts Vivian and proposes a trade, himself in exchange for Camille. Vivian agrees on the surface, but she and Blute secretly plan to betray him. Duncan proceeds to an abandoned warehouse, setting up his heavy machine gun in preparation. He calls Vivian again to arrange a meeting at a train station the following morning. Unlike previous encounters, Duncan doesn't hang up quickly or destroy his SIM card, allowing Vivian to track him. Vivian arrives with a group of armed operatives, including Alexei, expecting to trap Duncan. As they confront him, Duncan offers her a chance to back down, but she confidently refuses, believing they have him cornered. As the team prepares to attack, Duncan calmly activates his laser-guided heavy machine gun, unleashing devastating firepower and taking out all of Blute's men in an instant. Surprisingly, he spares the injured Vivian and redirects his focus to his true objective, confronting Mr. Blute. Watching the chaos unfold on his surveillance cameras, Mr. Blute panics and orders his remaining men to tighten security at his mansion. But when Duncan arrives, Blute's forces abandon their posts instead of confronting him. Blute attempts to have Camille brought to him, but it's too late. Duncan has already reached her. With one swift swing of his axe, Duncan decapitates Blute, ending his reign of greed once and for all. Duncan rescues Camille and returns her safely to Montana, assisting her in recovering from the ordeal. While exploring her room, Duncan comes across old newspaper clippings about a family that was murdered years ago. Horrified, he realizes that he had unknowingly carried out that hit on false information. The memory of this tragic mistake has haunted him ever since. The sole survivor of that massacre was a young girl, Camille, whom he has unknowingly helped over the years through donations, but never encountered again until now. Suddenly, Camille appears behind him, aiming a gun at him. She tells Duncan that the only face she can see is his, the man who killed her entire family and destroyed her life. Overcome with emotion, Duncan tearfully apologizes, explaining that the job went horribly wrong. He acknowledges that she has every reason to hate him and tells her that if pulling the trigger will ease her pain, she should do it. Trembling, Camille fires, but the shot misses Duncan. In the aftermath, she turns to him and asks for his help in uncovering who orchestrated the murder of her family. Duncan agrees, vowing to help her find the truth she's been seeking. And that is how it ended. Make sure to like and subscribe for more videos like this, and you can find this movie in the description below or our comment section. Thanks for watching.